7-2 up on Lin Sung Han. Han fought back to only 7-6 down, but he missed that 7 ball. Could Carl hold himself together? He was feeling it, you could tell. Understandably so, after surrendering such a big advantage. But he's always possessed nerve for the big occasion, and that's not left him. That was a really good cut on the 7. Still work to be done on the 9, though. Not in doubt. Just the ticket from Box Office Boys. We were hoping that Carl was going to play Jeremy Jones in an all-commentary clash tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. That didn't happen because I'm afraid Jeremy was beaten by Carl Naderberg from Estonia. But the positive aspect of that is that Jeremy's now sitting on my right-hand side in the commentary box.
Yeah, probably a good place to be at the moment. But yeah, I was next to Billy playing Yoshioka and in that match, and it was really kind of gut-wrenching really to see a little bit of it. Of course, I was trying to concentrate on my game. I never got so many rolls to just get 5 games. I was really fortunate in that match and just didn't perform, but good shooting to Carl Boys, and good to see him move on. You never know with Carl, but what I was getting at is Billy really didn't do much wrong up 8-2. So did the right thing after losing a gut-wrenching match, got out of the building, hopefully stayed away from the roadways a little bit, but after being pretty unlucky. But you got to give it to Yoshioka. He played an incredible match to come back, and now heck of a match we have between Garcia and Billy Thorpe.
It's all loser side pool from here on in. Rounds 1 and 2 on the winner's side over completely. So for the rest of the day, if you lose, you go home. And that will be the case in our first wave of matches tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice opener there from Billy, and really accepting what's going to be a tough shot on the red 3 to get back for the pink 4. Tough shot period. But one good thing about Billy that I saw, not only, you know, after the match that he just lost, which was again a brutal one, no matter who on the wrong end of that, you know, but even during the match he stayed very calm, where I think a year ago, you know, Billy's a very emotionally invested person anyways. He always wants it quite a bit. And 2 heck of a shots. Is he going to get over the 5 here? Wow. Didn't deserve that really, but he really stayed calm throughout, and I think he processed it and just said, hey, I played a great match. I was just 1 step short.
Well, that thunderous 3 ball was something to behold.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to come with one of the more awkward shots in pool, hidden down with a little top English, bit of a cut. Well, he's scraping one together here, and an awkward play here. It's a little thin. Can he draw between the 6-9? Does he bump the 6 here? Probably. He's queuing low, may drag this in. Doesn't want to make it. Uh-oh. Yeah, and that's because he didn't want to hit the 6 very thin, so he kind of drew off the 5. And is he going for this? We all know how well he banks.
Now that's the definition of living up to your nickname. Length of the table, Billy the banker.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, what an impressive out to start. Really a highlight reel on every shot. The most impressive thing about Billy, especially when his mind is really intact, and that's what I think has really sent him up the charts here the last 6 months, is notice how calm he stayed with the bank. A lot of players would hit that with a speed to maybe fluke a save or maybe double bank the ball up and down the table, but hit it with a lot of control.
He's 28 years of age from Dayton, Ohio. Famous sports town, which gave us the 400-meter hurdler, Edwin Moses.
Edwin Moses, I remember watching him quite a bit. Him and Carl Lewis in a lot of the same Olympics. Carl Lewis being from Houston, where I'm from. Really nice break off here. Probably a little unlucky to get snookered. Or at least I think a little bit. Could have a little small piece, but with the 9 there. So is he going to challenge here from the end rail? Can't imagine he's rolling out to a piece of this blue 2. If he has, he's kind of trapped himself, and he'll certainly get it back, I think. Now, if it's a makeable ball, that's a different story.
Roland Garcia almost won the World Championship in 2017. The World 9 ball. Got all the way to the final, lost out to Carlo Biardo. He knows his way around a table.
Yeah, I wonder what Billy's playing here with the 9 kind of impeding cue ball movement. I think that was somewhat by design as well, playing off the 9, continuing the cue ball down table. You saw a little tap on the table from Roland's cue. Pretty heady shot. Yeah, a lot of tournaments, you know, we try to pick out a dark horse kind of player that, and Roland comes up quite a bit even in these big fields, just because everyone knows how great a player he is, and just kind of goes by the wayside sometimes because he's a real humble, quiet man, and you know, unlike some of the more spirited Filipinos.
The last little roll. Good kick, nevertheless.
Yeah, and if he's going to the top rail here with all that congestion, Phil, he's got to put some speed on this to make sure he gets a rail. He can't just roll this like a lot of times you can. Okay, put enough speed. Looks like he's going to keep him off the offense. Maybe something there. Now, can he shave this on the left and kind of just go up the table behind the 5, 6, 7 maybe? A lot of right spin, very thin, trying to control the 9 as well. Use that. It's a little awkward 2-railer. This is where Billy's banking ability really helps on the kicking. You know, seeing the angles, how the ball's going to check. I wouldn't get involved with too soft here. Yeah, I like that speed. Wow, that was awfully close. It's the kiss shot on here with a lot of right spin. And this is where the tighter pockets, a shot like this makes all the difference in the world. If it's a bigger pocket, you just know with the right spin you're going to carry that 3 ball in. Now in the tighter pockets, you can hit that left knuckle and have the 3 hang.
Three is in, and I think the 2 bounced sufficiently.
Yeah, and I think Billy asked about something about maybe a referee involved in the last shot. I think Roland might have said, hey, you can call it. It's going to be that obvious. Kind of awkward in between here. You'd like to think you just stun out near the racking area for the 4 in the corner where the cue ball's at now. Little light. A little bit to a blind side pocket.
Another viewpoint, another illustration of just how uncompromising these middle pockets are. They will not accept any inaccuracy whatsoever.
Yeah, and I meant to actually speak with maybe Gary Wilson or Stewart Bingham about what they think of the pockets here at this year's UK Open. I think them playing a little more pool, and you can see it again right there.
Well, I wasn't on commentary duties for the last couple of matches involving Carl and Jeremy, so I was out there in the arena, and there was one rack where Jeremy, I thought, completed a bank to the middle pocket. How it didn't go in, I don't know. But I think everyone, all of the warriors out there, have similar tales. These pockets have been tightened up now for a number of years. We've been talking about it for all of that time. I personally think, Jeremy, and I'll be very interested in your opinion, I personally think these are the tightest ever we've seen.
Yeah, it could be. I think they really come close to last year's U.S. Open, which I thought the outer tables, you know, we're going to remember the semifinal final, but that was with pretty new felt. But it seemed like immediately there was, especially one end of the room, there's a little more moisture, and that's back here on these back tables from what I've found so far. Maybe the AC hits a little heavier, but these could be the toughest, at least for a multi-table tournament. I remember 20, what was it, 2022 Moscone Cup there. Well, that was a tight table. All right, a little flat.
Yeah, I was thinking more about the
multi-table. Yeah,
the multi-table major events. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they're anywhere to go really. I mean, I think they're going to be here. I think the players will adjust. Of course, the nerves are always going to be there, so makes it more difficult. You could see every player taking a hair more time, it seems like, as well, for the most part.
Garcia equalises. So we're in losers round 2 at the moment. All races to 8. Already through. A little earlier on, Craig Brown and Mustafa Alner. Alner beating Hunter Lombardo 8-1. Currently, Ahmad Tawfiq from Brunei 2-1 up on Ali Asghar Merchant. Antonius Kakaris 1-0 up on Marcel Price. Now, the winner of the match we're watching at the moment, Thorpe against Garcia, they're in a tough little section of the draw, I can tell you, because whoever wins this next will play either Nick Malai or Sanyan Perlovanovic. Malai's won the first rack there. Alex Montpellier and Chris Alexander 1-1. Jose Alberto Delgado 1-0 up on Robert Hart. Christian Sadea 3-0 up on Bash Maksoud. And Chang Yulong 4-0 up on Tim de Ruyter.
All right, nice break off there. Pretty good connection. The 2's going to come around near the side. It's really going to dress up nicely. I don't think the black 8 is impeding.
Just one result from about half an hour ago while we were in between matches. The youngest co-brother, Ko Ping Han, just about survived. Defeated Kevin Simpson of the UK 8-7.
Did I see Tolian Han playing earlier as well? I think he was in the lead in a tough match, as I thought.
Well, he's still in front, 7-4 against Danny Olsen.
Yeah, Danny Olsen, that's who it was.
And I'll tell you what, Stuart Bingham from the world of snooker, what a fight back He was well behind against John Morra. It's Hill, 7-7.
Yeah, and he just, you know, his opponent earlier, Frazier, I believe it was, played a heck of a match against Stewart, but Stewart rebounded nicely, and now, like Phil said, Hill with a great player from Canada, John Morra.
Well, I was talking to Stewart after that whitewash by Fraser Patrick, and basically just wasn't happy with the shaft of his cue, so he changed completely.
And again, just little things because of the tighter table. Just here, a little out of line, got to move the ball, but you could fall a little funny on the 8. This is where your cue ball control really means something, of course, all the little awkward shots. He's going to have to draw off this one maybe as well. No, it looks like he can kind of force it to the short rail and above the 9.
He was looking a little anxious there, but that's one of the great benefits of tight pockets. It's tougher to go in off the scratch. And Roland Garcia, after Billy Thorpe very impressively won the first rack, it's Garcia who goes in front at 2-1. And I can tell you, Stuart Bingham has defeated John Morra 8-7. What a turnaround from this morning's hammering. Well, I must say, I'm extremely nervous right now. I'm under pressure because the boss has arrived. Emily Fraser is in the commentary box. Take it away, Emily.
Listen, I'm not going to stay here for too long because I'm definitely nowhere near as good as JJ, I must say. But look, you can see the graphic on your screens, everyone. The Moscone Cup tickets have gone on priority sale just under 45 minutes ago. Listen, I'm going to say this right now. 50% of the capacity is already sold in 30 minutes. And I've walked away from the laptop because I said to myself, I've just got to walk away and see what's happening after 1 hour. But it's the priority sale. And we have already sold 50% of the capacity.
And I believe the general sale is on Friday?
Yes, general sales on Friday. But obviously, to become a priority member, all you have to do is sign up to the WNT live scores. It's totally free. Everyone gets the priority link. And the phones have been going wild. You know, Ticketmaster has been saying to us, this has gone crazy for the Moscone Cup. And there's also hotel bookings for Caribe Royale. This is going to be such a huge arena and so exciting. The 360 design. I mean, we're sitting here watching Billy Thorpe. He might be someone that is there in at November the 30th.
And we can't oversell the venue enough. It is the most extraordinary place, isn't it?
It's lovely. I went there on my site visit to go and look at it. They normally host boxing, Matchroom Boxing, obviously one of our sister companies, was there earlier this year and last year. I went and stayed there myself and I thought, cool, they've put me in a lovely upgrade, this room. I was like, this is really nice. And then I realised it's one of their standard rooms. It's such, honestly, the hotel is beautiful. We're about 10 minutes away from Disney World. You know, if you're looking to come along with your mates or you're looking to, this is one to bring your wife to or your kids, this is the one where you can bring anyone along. Like even my parents are saying, Emily, I want to come over to this one. So this is going to be the resort. And look, I bet I'm going to get back to my laptop and it's going to be there's going to be even less tickets available. What exciting news. Can you imagine 30 years on from the Moscone Cup where we're getting to the point where we could actually sell the Moscone Cup out in one day?
It really is incredible, and I believe, just before you go, Emily, I believe it's the largest venue for the Moscone in terms of seats we've ever had across the Atlantic.
Absolutely, and every time we hold an event, the Moscone Cup, whether it's in London or in the US, we always increase our tickets. So we were a couple of hundred tickets short 2 years ago in Las Vegas. The venue has allowed for us to have a bit more tickets in there, and we've bought the VIP sofas back, and we've got another row of the VIP sofas as well, which we're really looking forward to. And it's just like this hospitality package as well. There's the big buffet and also the timings. This is what I love about the Moscone Cup moving to Florida. Everyone was still going at 11 o'clock in the morning in Vegas, but this time you're looking at a 1 p.m., 2 p.m. start. So, you know, you've got more of an afternoon fun, and then you can finish the Moscone Cup for the day, and then you can go and have dinner with your friends, but you give yourself a bit of a line if you've had a few too many drinks that day.
And I can tell you this from personal experience, having spent many a Christmas time in Orlando. The weather at that time of the year is an absolute delight. It's not too warm. It's certainly not cold. It's sunny. They have a lot of dry days at that time of the year. Basically, it's perfect.
I mean, it's wonderful, and I think I said it before when we announced not too long ago on Sky Sports that we were moving to Orlando, Florida for the Moscone. I was a little bit concerned, you know, a little bit wary, and just thought, are we going to sell less? You know, are the fans not going to like it as much? But the demand and the response and the feedback from us moving has actually been incredible because of the weather, because of the location, and everyone keeps saying, you know, we want more events on the East Coast. I love the idea of, you know, a Florida Open event, you know, bringing one of those events to it. But I just think it's a great location for us. And does it mean that we stay along the East Coast for the Moscone Cup for future years? I'm not sure. You know, that if it's so successful this year and we sell our tickets out in one day, then why wouldn't we stay there for future years to come? So, I mean, this is an exciting and a great day for Matchroom Pool and the World 9-Ball Tour, because I think these players are here and they are competing and they're for their ranking points. They are coming here to earn their ranking points to get into these big invitational events like the Moscone Cup. We just announced the Reyes Cup earlier this year. That's the one also where we can be looking at arena of saying 3,000, 4,000 fans. That is what just turns this sport into something really magical, and to think that we're so close to just hitting that next level. Today's a great day.
Well, the headline is the Moscone Cup is going to the Sunshine State, and Emily Fraser is over the moon.
I can always leave it to you for some puns, can't we, Phil? I mean, you've been having a wonderful time with it, but look, this is phenomenal news for the day of Paul. And again, just for, you know, the team captain, Skylar Woodward, who was his birthday yesterday. He's been in the office earlier looking at the seating map, and he was going, right, so how many seats do we get for Team USA? And how do my friends and family go? And we go, look, you've got your friends and family in this, but this is where your team sits. This is where your bench is. And he's going, well, I've got my vice captain. Look, I love how Skylar is thinking. And, you know, he's looking at it and he's going, well, Bill, you know, you need to get practicing out there, because he's carrying his iPad around with him, making notes for all of his captaincy choices. I think making Skylar captain is probably one of the best things we've ever done.
Well, I was talking to him earlier on today, and I'll tell you what he does not lack for enthusiasm. He realises that the task is difficult, but with the addition of Fedor Gorst, I think the USA are very competitive, and the field is being levelled.
Well, it's going to be super interesting to see who qualifies for this year's Moscone Cup. And, you know, it all rested at the Hanoi Open last year, didn't it? And to see someone like Jason Shaw, who actually qualified for the Moscone Cup, you know, everyone's always said he gets in off of the wild card because he's British and, you know, with Sky Sports being our host broadcaster. But I love that he qualified because he earned his place there for other reasons. And it's going to be really interesting because Hanoi Open will be that last point again. So this year, all the players are fighting for their chances, fighting for their ranking points, and Hanoi Open will be that last cut-off point where they can qualify to the Moscone Cup.
And as Thorpe misses that 7-ball, what about Oscar Dominguez, what he's done already this year? He's the poster boy for travelling around the world to World 9-Ball Tour ranking events, trying to earn as many ranking points as he possibly can. Already runner-up in the Mexico Open, runner-up in the Scottish Open, going well here. He desperately wants to be in Orlando.
Yeah, you feel for him because, like you said, it's the runner-over in Mexico and then the runner-over in Scotland. But the thing I love about Oscar is that his chin's up no matter what. His head's held high. And he goes, it's okay, we go on to the next one. And I saw him earlier And he just goes, yeah, it's fine. You know, it just wasn't meant to be. But rightly so, Phil. He is looking at the calendar and he's saying to himself, okay, where do I go to qualify? And that's the beauty of this transparency of the ranking system now. It's the players can see how they can get into these events. It's clear, it's transparent, and it's fair. And that's how the World Nibal Tour should be.
And over the course of the year, so many different events as well. So as Roland Garcia goes 3-1 up, thanks for coming into the commentary box, Emily, and thanks for that great news about what should be a very unforgettable event.
Thank you so much. And there's your tickets out. There's your tickets right there, guys. So if you haven't already signed up to the priority link, it's WNT Live Scores, and you'll get your priority link there. Tickets might be gone by the time we're back at the end of this match, but I'll hand you back over to Jeremy Jones. Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you. Just hoping that the 2 seats in the commentary box aren't sold by the time we get in there. By the way, I was given some duff information a little earlier on. Maybe it was something to do with the scoring, I don't know, but Stuart Bingham was beaten 8-7 by John Morra.
Good words from Emily and yourself there, Phil. And come late November down in Florida, it's going to be it's gotten awfully thin on this 3 kind of with ball in hand. I'm not sure. Is he thinking about opening the pink 4 here? Looks like he should just coast by it now and play a 4-9 combination, but it's going to be something incredible come late November, early December for the Moscone Cup.
Well, it's like the basketball team in the NBA there. It's going to be Orlando Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the weather's going to be great. I'm sure many will take an extended vacation, including that Moscone Cup, maybe for the holidays or whatever, but you won't want to miss it. Get your tickets.
He's a very inventive human, is Billy Thorpe. That's why he's won the Banks title and the One Pocket at the Derby City Classic. Another inventive shot there, but I think he's got his hands full with Roland Garcia. How do you rate his chances, Thorpe, of making that Moscone Cup team?
Well, I mean, I like his chances the way he's playing for sure. Of course, you know, Skyler thinks highly of him, knows him real well, so if he knows he's intact and playing well, and of course the season will tell a lot, but I've said it for the last few months, I think he's playing the best pool of his life day in, day out. I mean, super talented kid. I mean, I saw him play when he was about 16 the first time, I think, and I hit those a little thick. He's going to be upset there. Not much room for error when you catch it thick, it seems. A little bit chance when you're thinner. You do get a little more action at times, but you could see the cue ball never getting kissed till after it was past the side pocket. So.
And the last line on the Moscone Cup is that the other great asset, he knows what it takes to be on a winning team. He's been on 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when Billy, just like any player, but a player that I think kind of needs a process when he's really getting into that 1 shot at a time kind of pool, that's what really adds up and shows up there at the Moscone Cup. And of course, being on the winning side of it, he's going to get another look here. Being on the winning side before does play huge. And I think what you said, you know, the addition of Federer, I think is going to show it more this next year, especially being right there at home. I think there's some other kids, you know, you got Shane Wolford, you got Billy Thorpe, you got Tyler Steyer. Of course, Skyler can do his best favor by making the team on the points himself, which he has to perform as well, because these guys are coming after a lot of points. Oscar Dominguez, like you brought up. You can see some others out here now that are super talented. He doesn't want to disrupt these too much. Got a little over the 6. Shouldn't be a problem really, but But Lucas Fracassa Werner, he's a kid that can really, you know, shine quickly. Sam Henderson. Sam really young at 17, I believe.
Looking a little downcast after that shot, but I think where he was cueing from, that wasn't too bad at all.
And the camera sure fooled me. I thought he could maybe roll it in and hold for a little closer shot on the pink. Feel a little frustration from Billy. Wonder if he's going to show us a big drag shot here. A little kill here to hold for the purple. Otherwise, he may play into the 7 on purpose. Yeah, that's the drag shot I was talking about that Roland really excels at, actually, killing the cue ball.
Drag with bundles of check side as well.
And you can tell he wasn't far off. Really put a good stroke on the ball. That kind of opened the pocket, but he's got to draw back here, maybe. Don't know if he can go forward and bump the 6 away for a shot. Really, with the 8 there, that may produce a problem. So he's got to hold behind the 6.
On the old pockets, that would have been in, sucked in. On these, it thought about it.
Yeah, got a little more of a shot than he desired here. A little shocked he didn't go forward, but a lot of times when you're close to the ball, you can control that light stun really well. But a lot of times, again, players will go forward with a little inside, maybe trying to use that second rail to contain the cue ball.
All square again. As it was at 1-1, it is at 3-3. Plenty of other matches all square as well. Some really heavy hitters in this round. On the one-loss side, Darren Appleton, 2-2 with Shea Chirchin. Same thing for Max Lechner, who's taking on Manos Spiridakis from Greece. Sullivan Clark and Ash Iknathwani. Hill 7-7. Yoni Uski 6-4 up on Antisola. Tobias Bongers going nicely against Guillermo Miguel Anglada, 6-0 up. Arthan Dad, who took 5 racks off Joshua Philly yesterday, he's 3-1 up on Glenn Murphy.
Yeah, much better hit on the 1 there. Look at the green 6 just creep into play. So it's undoubtedly going to be a push out here from Billy to start game number 7. Like Phil said, it is a race to 8 until these players get to loser qualification, one of these players possibly. And then it goes back to a race to 9.
Quickly, one result for you. Chang Yulong from Chinese Taipei whitewashed Tim de Ruyter 8-0.
Well, I thought Tim in his first match, I can't remember exactly who he played, but I thought he was a little favored in the first match and he got beat. But of course, Chang, a very solid player and a guy that can get going, former China Open champion, I believe. I like him pocketing the 8 here, just a little more control on the cue ball. Oh, he's just going to go by it. This is pretty awkward. Don't think this is very straightforward at all. Get down quickly. Is he just going to bank this back to the top rail? He let up on the stroke, could scratch in the lower right. Open ball does have a pocket here, Phil, but like I said, very awkward, I think, overall. Besides, you know, get down and just burying the shot.
The thing Thorpe must try and swerve, try and avoid, thinking, I shouldn't really be here. I should be through already. I think he's experienced enough to be able to partially get that out of his mind, but to get it out of his thoughts fully, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, well, they changed the scheduling last year, right, to the players, and the players love being able to play and then play again. It's a very rare time, even when you lose a match, that you don't want to get back in the box. And, you know, this one could have maybe used a little more time after that loss in the last round. But said to open the show, I think he's a lot better now. I think a year ago may be a problem, and he seemed a little more emotional over wins and losses, actually. Now you got to bank at this 8, I think, right? I mean, if you don't pay attention, you wouldn't even see the 8s there cross side. I think you got to go at this 2-8 combo. But yeah, he's got to set it aside, but he's fighting through it. The opening rack of this match was something incredible. Wow, really lucky not to lose the cue ball. Sounded like a partial miscue, really.
It's exactly what I said about 15 minutes ago. The only good thing about tight pockets is that it's tight for the white also.
Yeah, Billy's got to shoot at this. Probably comes all the way down with a little speed. Wasn't far off. He may fluke the 8. And he has. Really didn't hit the 2 poorly. I mean, a little left.
Gallantly said, sorry, Roland, but he's not really sorry. Just a matter of etiquette, I suppose.
Yeah, tell him you should have seen the last match, Roland. Yeah, I missed the 7 ball on the side. That was a little tougher angle, but I was much closer to it. Kind of shot it the same way, a little to the outer point. It's actually a huge game in my match. But
Thorpe, after that shot, said a word that I really think isn't too much of an exaggeration. He said, impossible. That's how tough the middles are.
yeah, during my match, actually, because I was actually playing safe and kicking pretty well, I was thinking about just really not taking a chance at many shots. Maybe try to, because my opponent, Newberg, he's kind of younger and maybe could outmove him a little bit, but hard to win a match doing that. But at times you have to consider really what the percentages are, when, especially here. Let's wait till like the end of tomorrow and into that final 64 when we're still on the outer tables. These are going to get brutal.
Look at that one. on the table next to Carl Boyes when he was winning his latest match. I was watching a contest between two guys, and they both looked reasonably useful, and yet at the end of one rack a 9-ball was missed that defied belief. It rattled and rattled and rattled and refused to go from short range. Anything can be missed.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you fall near the rail with the cue ball. The key really is kind of what my opponent did in the last half of the match and through the end, is really committed to the stroke. You can't let it make you quiver. I think that's where you'll see those top players really kind of separate themselves. Of course, their brain is so good as well, but and the hard part about it, Billy trying to do something there with a bank. He's already made one big one in this match. The hard part about it for most players, like take a player like Roland or even Billy, for instance. You know, they play a lot of tournaments where they get to play 3-4 matches in a day, sometimes even more. You know, weekend events, 3-day events back in the States. And they start to really get comfortable, where here you're playing one match, it's a big setting, you don't get near as much practice as you think you would at times, and you know, it's hard to get in that feeling of you're not going to miss a ball, like everything's on point. Where the other players, they get out here and play a few more tournaments, they get used to it a bit more. And I think that's why you see with the interviews, you know, when players do play really awesome matches, they're really elated because they know how difficult that is, and especially in a one-match setting.
Specific to this match, indeed to this round, also extra pressure when you're on the one-loss side, because there's no room for manoeuvre. You either win or it's over.
Yeah, not wanting to flirt here. You may get a bump on the 7 going with a high ball. Not wanting to flirt with the scratch. Now he may have overrun though a little bit. He's not going to be as happy about that as we think. He played it that way to get, you know, a bit better position. But just like here, this is a prime example. Now, no matter how you're going to shoot it, whatever it is, draw, drag, a little pinch, don't let up. That's what's going to hold true. So a couple misses in the last 2 games for Roland.
These pockets, at the risk of repetition, are a whole new world.
Well, I think that's what was so impressive, getting to watch some of that comeback, you know, that Billy had put on him in the last round. Is, you know, any flinch on one ball at 8-2, the match is over. And just kept knocking balls in game after game.
So with that bad miss from Roland Garcia, Billy Thorpe leads for the first time at 4-3. Let's go through some scores for you. Ahmed Tawfiq from Brunei. He beat Roman Fury earlier on today. Roman Fury is the half-brother of the world heavyweight boxing champion Tyson Fury. And Roman is a professional boxer himself who's 4-0 at the moment. Anyway, Tawfiq won that, and he's looking like he's going to beat Ali Asghar Merchant. Little closer, though, than the Fury match. Tawfiq 5-3 up. Antonius Kakaris 2-1 up on Marcel Price. Sanyan Pilovanovic in the box seat against Nick Malay at 5-1. Alex Montpellier and Chris Alexander 3-3. Jose Alberto Delgado 5-0 up on Robert Hart. Christian Sadea 7-0 up on Bash Maksoud. As we told you, Chang Yulong beat Tim de Ruyter 8-0. Paul Song and Paul Corrigan are just about to start their match on table 4. Zoltan Kozjar 3-2 up on Radislav Babica. Flavian Glont and Fraser Patrick 1-1. Both have got claims to fame, those two. Glont, of course, the Rubik's Cube man from Romania. Fraser Patrick, he's got a very good reputation on the snooker tour for putting tips on. A lot of the players swear by him. Jeffrey Aroda 6-3 up on Ioannis Charloftis. Emil Andre Gangflo from Norway. He leads Mubarak Al-Wahabi 4-3. Mubarak beaten by Gary Wilson earlier today. Evo Arts 6-2 up on Eric Godoloff. Arfan Dad. Well, he's the daddy at the moment against Glenn Murphy. 5-1 ahead. Yoniuski on the hill against Anti-Solar at 7-4. Ashik Nathwani has beaten Sullivan Clark from New Zealand 8-7. Manos Spiridakis doing well against Max Lechner. Could Lechner be the first really big name to depart? It's 3-3 right now. Darren Appleton 3-2 up on Che Chia Chin. Michael Schneider from Switzerland 3-2 on GJ Orengoren. Simon Ayres and Dean Shields 3-3. Mikhail Oergaard 6-0 up on David Black. Jeremy Sosi 1-0 down to Gindak Cyprian Gabriel of Romania. Ronnie Oldovic, who had a win over Riku Rompainen earlier today. He's 4-1 up on Raul Martin Muela. Nikos Economopoulos, a former Moscone Cup player from Greece, has just taken a 5-2 lead over Francesco Candela of Italy. And George Antonakis, part of a very powerful Greek contingent here, leads 6-0 against Teria Javas. Demetrius Teria Javas.
Yeah, I think from what I saw, pretty unlucky scratch here. Maybe the cue ball hair low, but not much. I didn't think anyways. Yeah, a little bit, but it's amazing how those kisses just somewhat repeat. And after making a mistake the last 2 games, and the kind of, again, to talk about the pockets, kind of makes even more of a topic that usually ball in hand will get you out of those mistakes quickly. But again, everything's so demanding with the pockets the way they're playing. We'll see if he can avoid the mistake here in rack number 8.
And the size of the pockets, the cut of the pockets makes such a difference in cue sports. We've just had the completion of the World Snooker Championship at the Crucible, and it was the common consensus amongst commentators, spectators, most importantly players, that the pockets were playing a lot tighter than normal. Plus the conditions were a little heavier also than normal, and the number of century breaks drastically down on what they normally are. So even though those guys are good, outstanding, like these guys in their chosen field, if you tighten up the pockets, it's got to have an effect, and it does.
Yeah, and you know, we've had some, of course, tight pockets again, like you said. Maybe these are the tightest yet. So it takes some getting used to. It can become very mental. Is there any more mental sport, of course, than pool? Golf's up there, I guess. But he could have just drew back to take on the corner, tried to come out for the shorter pocket, and now not much of a shot at all besides a cross corner bank. So again, that'll also tell you something. You know, if he's playing on a bigger pocket, probably just draws back to the rail, takes the shot on the 5 up in the right. Now he's going to try and hold behind the 6. Try and make the bank as well. Maybe serve up a jump. Yeah, we stopped by Sheffield on the way. Emily Frazier, as kind as she is, got us some tickets, but the timing of everything with the flights and everything, we got there and got to hear one ball Ronnie shoot. His last ball, we're on the wrong side of the partition, of course. But it was neat place. Got to go see Steve Davis for a little bit, visit with him. That was nice. And just a neat kind of feeling over there at the Crucible, indoor and outdoor.
That wasn't a neat feeling for Billy Thorpe.
Yeah, maybe tried to add a little left spin to that jump. kill this with a little left side. Oh no, he's going into the ball. That is super surprising. That to me tells me that he's really about making the ball. You know, a lot of times, I know Roland's game pretty well. He'd check that with some inside spin and bring the cue ball left of the 6, but just going to say that in the last rack as well. I think when you get on these tables, you start to play the object ball a little too much instead of just playing the shot itself. And I find myself doing that. Going to be a difficult hit here. Does he go 2 rails or 1? If he goes 2 rails, watch out for a little action on the 9. If he comes off what would be our right side of the green 6. This will have some speed.
The key to that shot for Garcia, he's judged it ideally with the cue ball welded against the black.
He played it lighter. I was on the fence, like, would I go 1 rail straight up the table at the 6?
This should be gravy, no doubt about it, but these pockets do provide an element of doubt, although where they are, that element is very small here.
Yeah, absolutely. Close quarters is what you want, but again, you can tell the player's stressing a bit.
We've already seen a hill-hill finish on this main match table today in an all-British affair, an all-English affair. Gary Wilson beat Elliot Sanderson 9-8. That was on the winner's side. The way things are going here, this could go the distance as well. It's 4-4. One of Garcia's fellow countrymen, Jeffrey Roda, is through, defeating Ioannis Charlaftis 8-3. Tobias Bongas, no issues against Guillermo Miguel Anglada from Argentina. Bongas winning 8-0. And Jani Uski, fine player from Finland, underrated. He beat Antti Sola 8-4.
You have somebody like a bit of an underdog, not maybe a big name that you like to run deep. Here, Phil?
Well, I think the way conditions are, you need to go for experience, savvy. When I say conditions, I mean tight pockets. And of course, what is the definition of an outsider? On the one-loss side, well, plenty of big hitters involved still. I just get the feeling with Max Lechner, he's now 5-3 up on Manos Spiridakis. I think if he does make single elimination, he'll be so relieved he might just come out of his shell and do some good things.
Yeah, didn't have the best Whirlpool Masters. Showed a lot of heart, struggled at the beginning of that match against Albin and showed a lot of heart to come back. Really just a shot away from making it hill-hill. Wants to rebound. Kind of like a kid that made a run, and you'll certainly remember the match he lost, but just, oh, this speed looks really good. Up behind the brown 7, somewhat of a bare ball. Billy has a friend near the table, some type of bug it seems, but Alexa Paselge, I don't know. I watched him strike the ball. Of course, I know he's getting more experience and learning all the time. That's how those kids are. But I think it's going to take someone that's really hitting the ball clean to overcome, you know, as being an underdog in a match or two and squeaking it out, whatever you want to call it, and make a deep run in this event. But I really like the way he's hitting the cue ball. Doesn't seem, you know, a lot of players get a little shorter with the stroke, and I've experienced it after talking about it. Certainly experienced it here the last 2 weeks, but just think he's in a good spot. A kid that takes the heat pretty well. Oh, clean one there from Billy. He's going to have to show us another.
As for the winner's side, the winner's qualification round, maybe keep your eye on Pierce Laboutis, who's much like Alexa Paselge, keeps knocking on the door.
Yeah, I like that name a lot. He's overcut this. So the player's laboring a little bit in the middle of the match. Yeah, Laboutis, I like just, you know, really sticks to himself in the matches, stays pretty confident, it seems. Of course, having those results last year, I thought he was really the class of that Spanish Open match in, match out that I saw. Just played really pure pool, and of course it was Bisterbosch that beat him in the semifinal, and then Dang went on to win it. But that's more of the Roland I'm used to seeing. I don't know if he held or not, but not afraid to spin the ball and kill the cue ball. But yeah, I thought Pius really was something special. He was again very good at the Derby City Classic, then another runner-up finish here recently.
And what stamina he showed there. Same with Filler, especially in the 9-ball. Finished at lunchtime the day after it was supposed to finish, and they played all the way through the night.
Yeah, well, the Derby City Classic, it's not just a 9-ball event. That's the main event, of course, in a World 9-Ball Tour ranking event. But we play other disciplines, and what people don't realize is, especially to make deep runs, nice shot here on the swerve, is in the bank pool, it's pretty exerting. You got to play a lot of matches, right? But the one pocket, it's like playing, you know, a U.S. Open golf course for 5-6 days in a row, trying to play your best, and it's just beating you down, and then you got to go into the 9-ball after that. So 10-day tournament in its entirety.
And that's why Filler is such a beast. He had 2 wins and a 3rd-place finish to claim the master of the table. It was an outstanding performance.
Yeah, and the invitational event, which was on a 5x10, he won that as well. Oh my, little decel there, just a little let up. So it's been a few odd misses getting through the tough stuff for Roland, but then, just like I said, somewhat easy misses even for the tight table. That's going to end up near the rail-ish. Could have been better here.
The quieter the pace, the more the pocket will accept this 9-ball. That was stroked in with aplomb as Billy Thorpe regains the lead at 5-4. One has to say, though, badness from Garcia to middle.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a couple of those, like I said, in the middle of the match that gotten the best of Roland. He's really like taking care of that early tough part of the run, and then just a little let up.
Just to give you a heads up about the schedule tomorrow, we start at 10 o'clock local time. That's 5 a.m. in the morning on the east coast of America, 2 a.m. on the west coast. We start off with a losers round, and then for the next 2 at least matches, maybe 3 matches on the main table, we'll have winners qualification action.
Well, this 2 is going to open up, I believe, along with the rest of the rack. A little over the black 8 and the side pocket near the 2. A little troubling for the cue ball, but it's kind of like getting a shot here and maybe extending the lead. Nice opener there. He really has a choice. He can come pull this ball 2 rails most likely. Just got to command the speed. Doesn't want to get over the 5-6 with the cue ball. It's got to go a bit.
It's been rather a scrappy, disjointed kind of match, but that was a good sign.
Yeah, really good. The opening 2 ball was nice. The 3 wasn't terrible. He was just worried, but a nice pink. Got to stay focused, though.
Looking for something he's not had before. A 2-rack lead.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and lay behind this black 8 a bit. Key to this shot is make sure you do come off that second rail. Don't get too thin on the 8. And this happens a lot right here where you want to guarantee the angle, but then you really brought a missable ball into play. Could have used a good diamond bounce and still had plenty of angle on this black 8.
And I've seen so many of shots like this overcut over the last couple of days. So many.
I think Billy's found something, like he had a little talk with himself. He's not going to go down babying the ball. See, like they're going to release the cue a little bit. Saw that a few shots ago, so that's a good sign.
Despite a couple of positional hiccups, Billy Thorpe ran the rack and he leads 6-4. 2 more needed to advance. 2 more needed to eliminate Roland Garcia. Just looking at this winners qualification tomorrow, some cracking matches. Claudio Cacci, younger brother of the defending champion Eklund Cacci, takes on Torsten Homan. Niels Fine against Jeffrey Ignacio. Skylar Woodward is up against Dimitris Lukatos. Duong Kwang, who won the Scottish Open at the weekend, plays Petri Makinen. Gary Wilson going head-to-head with David Al-Kadi. Jason Shaw up against Albania's Besar Spahiu. And the list just goes on and on. Johan Chua, Kopinyi, about that one. It's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, a lot of players are saying to Johan Chua, would you go ahead and get your ranking up, please, so we can maybe avoid you until the final 64, but yeah, that's going to be some match.
Well, of course, that was the big story when the Philippines won the World Cup. They were unseeded. Ridiculously, remarkably.
Yeah, those were, of course, it was the first name out of the hat in the draw that night there in Spain. Nice. Getting them down. He's going to get slowed down here, though, with a tough pink and a really tough red right in front of him. The safety's a little awkward also. He's looking because it's kind of hard to clip the 3 ball and run the cue ball down below and keep control of both, that being the cue ball and the red 3. Billy very crafty in these kind of situations, the ones that aren't so obvious.
Could find himself in trouble now.
Yeah, and that's how difficult the safety was, though. He decided to go ahead and go offensive on I wouldn't say the worst of low percentages making the ball. He was, I think, better than 50-50, but gaining position at the same time maybe lowered the percentage a bit. Now, Roland, he wants to squeeze this cue ball up on the purple and pink, but he doesn't want to make anything else like the 3 cross side or maybe the 3 flicks off the 6. Oh, he's made it. Oh, it went a bit long. Billy probably kicks 2 rails at this ball off the right long rail. The reason being is you can kick across a little bit. The 9 may be somewhat in the way, but big scratch off the 3 in the side. So he's going before the side. He may be going 3 rails behind this ball. Yeah, not a lot of pockets for the pink here. I don't think it passes the green 6 in the middle, the left middle. Does go in the upper right. He's going to elevate, so he must have more of the 3 than we think. Coming back between the green 6 and the purple. Oh, he's way overhit this. He's got to get lucky. But kind of like right there, tournament pool feel, you know, you can't get these games back. It's down 6-4 in this race to 8. Could have rolled that in, played underneath, and made a decision. If he got good on the pink, play it in the upper right. If not, maybe play the safety. Of course, I always talk about it. The reason these players are so great is because of their aggressive nature, but still tournament pool can be a little different.
The cue ball retained an awful lot of side, and when it caught that last rail, veered right as we're looking and left on quite a makeable pot.
Yeah, real natural with the cue ball, even though it's a little in between. Kind of got to stun forward a little bit. I like his chances. Well, you never had a chance, huh, Phil? After I said that.
Hate to use the word, but I think it applies here. He was tentative there, it seemed to me. In 2 minds, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in the last rack, where I said I think he kind of had a talk with himself. He's not going to be that kind of tentative, and maybe it was just a little in between with the cue ball. Couldn't really draw it because the side pocket had to kind of force it forward a touch. Yeah, them few easy misses has led to more things here for Roland.
I'm not an amateur psychologist or psychiatrist, but I think these pockets are living in Roland Garcia's head rent-free. Missed a few, and of course the difficulty of them multiplied inside his thoughts. And I think it's eroded his confidence to such an extent he's missing these pots he would normally get.
I was a little surprised he banked at it. Now, the one thing I was very impressed with was tucking the cue ball, because the jump shot, that's the type of bank that can hang in the corner and you can give up a pretty easy jump. But he made sure he got the cue ball really close to the 6 and 5. Well, I talked about it that Roland doesn't mind spinning the cue ball, you know, and a lot of Filipinos are that way. And when you play that type of technique, which I kind of play the same sometimes, but you know, you rely on timing a lot, and just because you are swerving the cue ball and you're spinning it, you're throwing the object ball a bit. And tell you what, when the nerves are high and you don't feel confident with the timing, boy, you can miss a lot of balls, especially on tight equipment. Like here, what a treacherous shot in the side this is, especially trying to move the cue ball.
He's already described the middle pockets as impossible. They aren't, but they're very difficult. Oh, that was in, surely. And yet, what's ended up in is the cue ball. Let's take a look at this. Billy the banker tried the, well, it wasn't going in. At least he's got that to hang on to. But the scratch could be so expensive, should be so expensive. And that, Jeremy, is how matches turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we'd see Billy bank at it, but I thought he would bank it with a little more control, just kind of like a medium drawing the ball. He did kind of clatter and hit a few other object balls, so maybe that was the plan, trying to rearrange as going for the bank. You can see Roland coming all the way down with the cue ball.
No alarms on the 9-ball. Garcia back within 1 at 6-5. The number of matches out there dwindling down all the time. On table 13, George Antonakis on the hill against Dimitrios Teriajavas of Lithuania. 7-1 for Antonakis. Nikos Economopoulos, he's 6-3 up on Francesco Candela. Tolian Han completed victory over Danny Olsen at 8-4. Good win for Tommy Donlan, behind in much of the match against Roger Rasmussen from Norway, but he won 8-7 in the end, the player from the UK. Vastly experienced player as well. Shane Conroy and Kostas Koukiadakis 2-2. That might be the last match to finish today. And Petra Urban from the Czech Republic, he's through. Veteran of several World Cup of pools, representing his country. He beat Do Tae Kien 8-5. Two more quick scores, two more quick results. Mikhail Oegard 8-1 over David Black. Michael Schneider 8-2 over GJ Orengoren.
Yeah, I think sizing something up on the 9. If you can shoot the combination and come 2 rails with a little high right up behind the 8, that way you shoot it with a bit of speed. Kiss shot maybe on, I'm not sure. I think it's probably the combination. No, he's going for the kiss.
What a way to draw level at 6 racks each. In goes the 9 ball. A very swift rack. And all of a sudden, after this bit of artistry, Billy Thorpe's thinking, not again.
Yeah, and what control of the 1 ball too, keeping that behind the 7. Roland showing that Filipino creativity, and now knotted at 6 apiece. Race to 2 for their tournament life here in Telford.
Sanyan Polovanovic came through a tough test, beating Nick Malai 8-4. Chris Alexander, he was in the commentary box with us yesterday when you were off playing pool, Jeremy. He beat Alex Montpellier of France 8-4. Chris is actually from Jersey, which is very close geographically to France. And Robert Hart whitewashed 8-0 by Jose Alberto Delgado.
Yeah, well, besides a little thin and stretch, a nice starter here on the combination. He'll should, I believe, shoot the 2, go into the rail, and use the 6 to slow the cue ball down. Don't really see any reason not to do that. You'd like not to bump the ball, but it seems like pretty natural, and that way you don't do anything flirty with the cue ball. Could go around the 6, I guess, but only concern I would have is maybe bumping the 6 up onto the purple 5, but can't really worry about that too much. Yeah, it's the shot all day, I think. He did move it over in front of the near pocket for the purple 5, but a pretty good spot here. He may be able to shoot the 4 in the right middle and fall between the 5 and 6. I would look at that. Oh, excuse me, the red 3's up the table. He's got other work first.
One of these players is going to look back on this match with regret. What I will say is that although Thorpe has been guilty of his share of missed balls, he's not missed as many obvious pots as Garcia.
And he certainly made some of the tougher shots in the match, going for another tough one here, up and down with the cue ball. He's overcut it. Now Garcia will probably try and bring the 3 to the right side of the 9 and pink 4 and bring the cue ball up behind the 8. I think that's pretty playable. I kept it even more simple. Did give it jump. Looks awfully thin to the side, though. Now with the 5-6 tough, you don't want to serve up ball in hand, making this in the side and scratching in the upper right. Good effort.
I don't think I've potted a ball in the side all day, he said. That's an exaggeration, but you know where he's coming from. At least he's got hindered cueing over this 7. Over this 8, I should say.
Yeah, pretty smart shot considering, like Phil said, the awkward cueing. Trying to give himself some room for error, hitting the 3 pretty heavy, bringing it down into some congestion. I don't know what Billy's going to do here. Trying to draw the cue ball behind the 4-9, banking the 3 around. Yeah, like that. It's always going to be tough, though. always.
What a gargantuan rack this is. Who will be first to the hill?
I'm not sure he can shoot at this. What a shot. It's going to be too much, I think, anyways. Just too much.
Given the quality of that effort, he deserved more.
Yeah, probably never expected to get it all the way around that far. Wasn't much cut on the red 3. I thought he'd probably play safe considering where the balls were and how they laid, but he wanted to attack, and boy, he hit it nicely. Can't imagine him not pulling out the jump cue here, though. This isn't a lot of the green 6 to go over. Other thing is, you're not disrupting the purple 5, where the kick shot, you could certainly open up the purple 5 here. Oh, what a hit. They get a snooker too? No way. All right, it's going to be close, but this is where Billy and his banking ability may really help him here in a moment on the purple 5. I think I like that for him setting up for a bank versus trying to go forward and trying to get short side shape. Yeah, that's what, too much. He's overdrawn the ball, and now he can't pinch the bank. I think you just got to slowly go behind the 9 here. Looks like he's just going to double bank the 5 to the end rail.
Not the best object ball, not the best cue ball.
No, I thought he'd hit it heavier and really throw the ball. That way the cue ball would dive a little deeper behind the 9, but now Roland's kind of eased this in a bit. Going to get perfect with the cue ball. Big stretch for Roland, though, I think.
One of those players trying his very best to avoid using the rest. That's why he's putting the extension on the back of his cue. Still, it's going to be a stretch, awkward.
Yeah, and you want to stay away from side spin with the extension if you can. I hit it nice. Just perfect, just a hair underneath the 8. He can stay off the rail with the cue ball. The first one to the hill in this match seems big, huh? Phil, with only one, the other player only 1 game behind.
At various points in this match, both players have seemed the more powerful, the more settled. Right now, it is Garcia, not just in front, but looking the more likely winner. Numerically, of course, but also the way he's played the last few racks. Garcia on the hill. Thorpe needing the last couple of racks to prevent a second consecutive defeat and leaving this venue wildly disappointed. By the way, Emily Fraser's just told us these Moscone Cup tickets are going like hotcakes. sellouts.
Yeah, dry break. You figured it had to be. Thorpe now with a chance, a good chance to get the run started. Maybe give us another hill thriller on the one-loss side.
Talking about the Moscone Cup, a former player in that event, Nikos Economopoulos, has come through 8-4 against Francesco Candela, who's been having some good results on the World 9-Ball Tour.
Yeah, Candela steady and strong, always trying to get better. Great guy. Economopoulos really a top player in his heyday, trying to get that game back.
Delicate operation, that removing.
Haven't really had to see much of this for the most part. Of course, the players breaking the balls better and better. You're not going to get as much groupings, and it's some odd kisses usually anyways. All right, I think they all go. It's going to have to get pretty nice on the 3-ball to avoid some other balls trying to get back on the pink 4. Good thing is the 2's in a handy position to get in that spot. But once he removes the 3, you'll notice 7 will open up once the 6 is gone to the lower right as well. So doable rack, not easy.
I think the way the match has gone, hill would be appropriate because neither player has taken it by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, and I think 2 players that are like a lot of players in this one-loss side, and that's going to happen more tomorrow. You could see if they, survive a match or 2, can really get going and make a deep run. All right, this next shot, that's going to be the one. Kind of a little in between here. Not the easiest to go 1 rail past the side. Not the easiest to hold in the gap between the 7-8, especially if you want to get somewhat close to the 6. Not terrible, but it's probably going to be a little bit of a sweater no matter how he plays it. All right, he decided to take his shot, and I think he's gotten about as good as he could as far as not too thin on the 6.
Thorpe cannot afford any more mistakes. He was saying before, wasn't he, to anyone who would listen, he's not made a ball in the middle all day. He's got to make this one. And it's a little cheeky. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and every one of them, Ryan, has been the same place to the outer point, and they're just not going to go there. You know, that's the room for error side on a lot of tables, and these, the dead center, is the place to be aiming, and I'm sure that was the case, but amazing the coincidence.
Just echoed your commentary there. He said same spot every time.
Okay, Roland has this shot with a little angle going forward. He really likes it, actually. I wonder if he's going to go here, if he just crosses this over and he puts the 8 on the end rail. It looks like he's rearing up to shoot. Be the shot of the day, I'll tell you. He's got to cross this over. I believe that's the shot. Just kind of lay off the left side of the 8, let the 8 hit the side rail and get to the end rail. You're not going to get a snooker, obviously. He's shooting here, Phil. It's kind of like, you know, the way the match has gone. If you're in a golf situation like this, you know, that's where the caddy's handing him the wedge, you know, and he's trying to find the 2-iron or the whatever. But he's overhit this a bit. This is going to come up. Not too bad.
I'd rather this than shoot straight inside.
All right, he's definitely shooting at it.
Billy the Banker. That's why they call him that. But there's one more difficult ball yet to be knocked in. Is it going all the way? Two great pots to take us to a deciding rack. It's been a wonderful day, you know, lots of really interesting pool, and this is a fitting conclusion to it on the main table. Other scores in this round. Round 2 losers, Antonius Kakaris 3-2 upon Marcel Price. Paul Song 5-1 on Paul Corrigan. Zoltan Kojar 6-5 down now to Radislav Babica. Fraser Patrick from Scotland 5-3 up on Flavian Glant. Mubarak Al Wahabi 7-5 on Emil Andre Gangflo. So Mubarak on the hill there. I'll give you the other scores after this rack.
Oh, he's been making the 1 on the side quite often. The 2's coming down. It's going to get a bump on the 3. This looks pretty good as far as a starter. Now make all the difference in the world if he can level out or if he has to elevate here to hold for the 3. Main thing is don't get in a hurry this first shot. Really, you don't have to think about it long. Just make sure you're settled before you pull the trigger. Very good at elevating the cue, though.
As we said before, the winner will play Sanyan Polovanovic in the next round. It's going to be a testing assignment, but at least you've got to be in it to win it. That's Thorpe's mantra. Just get this out of the way, come back tomorrow and go again.
Yeah, he made a nice opener there. He recognized the angle. We didn't quite see it. He could level out and bump the 3. A little awkward here as he have to draw by the 8. I don't know if he can really go forward. I guess he can go forward, but really doesn't get him much. Could draw into the 8 for the 4 on the side. Not a bad shot, actually. Looks like going forward may come near the pink and get him a little thin on the pink as well, and doesn't really want that. So it's either draw by the 8, I think, or maybe go into the black 8. Decide to let the stroke out a bit more, Phil.
It's looking promising now. it teetered and tottered and dropped.
Yeah, and I don't think he had to cheat it like that. It just didn't want to clip that 8 coming in. Probably hitting it easy, played for a little thinner. Maybe the ball anticipating a bit of a kick. Got to draw this a bit, just a little maybe. He decided to just spin it. Table playing very nice and grippy. Got pretty perfect here.
Bugs everywhere, bro. I'm about to eat these motherfuckers.
One more straight delivery of the cue. What fluctuating fortunes for Billy Thorpe. Roland Garcia, runner-up in the World Championship 7 years ago. He's going home. He's out of the tournament. As for Thorpe, for now at least, it's redemption. He defeats Roland Garcia in a thriller by 8 racks to 7. Why didn't he do that at the time when he had the 8 ball? That's how this game plays with your mind. It was also easy when there was no pressure on it. Bear in mind, Thorpe, 7-6 down, winning 8-7. That after being sent to the one-loss side of the draw by a 9-8 defeat against Masato Yoshioka after being 8-2 ahead. So she had a lot of grit and spirit there to get over the line. So just a handful of matches left now out there. Let me run down the scores. Shane Conroy in trouble against Kostas Koukiadakis, trailing 6-2. Raul Martin Moella, 6-4 down to Ronnie Aldervik of Norway. It's 2-all, Jeremy Sosi, Gendik Cyprian Gabriel. Simon Ayres on the hill against Dean Shields in an all-UK affair at 7-5. I can tell you, Max Lechner, just a few seconds ago, posted a victory. The Austrian defeated Manos Spiriadakis 8-6. On the neighbouring table, Lechner was on table 5. On the neighbouring table, table 6, Darren Appleton. He's on the hill against Shea Chiachin at 7-6. Fraser Patrick on the hill against Flavian Glant at 7-3. Radislav Babica leading Zoltan Kojan 7-5. Paul Song 5-2 up on Paul Corrigan. And Antonio Kakaris 3-all with Marcel Price. Now this is the Moscone Cup. Tickets today for priority sale